Gondwana was a large landmass in the Earth's distant past, which comprised the territory of Africa. West Gondwana broke up over 100 million years ago to form South America, whereas East Gondwana became Arabia, India, Antarctica, and Australia. The breakup of Gondwana still continues in Eastern Africa along the East African Rift, which runs 4,000 kilometers north-south from the Red Sea to the Mozambique Channel. A series of large lakes, such as Lake Tanganyika and Lake Malawi, lie within the Rift Valley. Africa straddles the equator and the prime meridian. Algeria is Africa's largest country by area, and Nigeria is its largest by population. Africa is the place of origin of humans and the great apes. The earliest hominids have been dated to around 7 million years ago. The name Africa derives from the ancient Berber word Afrit, meaning cave-dwelling demons, and the word Ifri, meaning cave, with reference to sacred caves such as Safar in Algeria and Slanta in Libya. The out-of-Africa migration of Homo sapiens began around 130,000 years ago. Once in Central Asia, Homo sapiens split into 5 branches. The first one partly interbred with Neanderthals, gradually migrated west, and gave rise to European and Semitic peoples. The second settled in Northern Asia and mainly gave rise to Turkic, Mongolic, and Sinitic peoples. The third partly interbred with Denisovans, migrated south, and gave rise to Dravidians, Andamanese, Melanesians, and Aboriginal Australians. The fourth migrated to Southeast Asia and gave rise to Negritos and Pygmies, some of whom returned to Africa. However, most of today's African populations are the descendants of the fifth branch, who returned to Africa and partly interbred with local ancestral groups known as Bodo, Kabwe, and Herto. The only group of humans who never left Africa are the San people, who still live in the southern part of the continent to this day. They are credited with the invention of the world's oldest language. The Lebamba bone is a bone tool made of a baboon fibula, with incised markings, discovered in a cave on the border between South Africa and Eswatini. The bone is about 43,000 years old and served as a lunar calendar. The 20,000-year-old Ishango bone, discovered in Congo-Kinshasa, is regarded as the world's oldest mathematical tool. At the end of the Ice Ages, around 10,500 BCE, the Sahara became a green fertile valley interspersed with large lakes. Between 9,000 and 6,000 BCE, the oil palm and black-eyed peas were domesticated in West Africa. The continent has a large quantity of natural resources, including diamonds, gold, iron, cobalt, and uranium, just to name a few. Iron metallurgy was invented by the Nok culture in Nigeria in the 27th century BCE. The Yoruba people, famous for their animistic religion, are the heirs of the Nok civilization. However, the oldest civilization in West Africa is the Tichit culture of Mali, Mauritania, and Senegal, dating back to 4000 BCE. Tichit settlements consisted of multiple stone-walled compounds containing houses, towers, and granaries, as well as ceremonial grounds with standing stones. The Dogon and Serer peoples are the heirs of the Tichit civilization. They are well known for their masked dancers, diviners, and wrestlers. They worship the sun, the moon, and the star Sirius, in addition to a host of nature deities. Another ancient civilization is that of Central Sudanic peoples living along the White Nile, who are credited with the invention of string instruments and the practice of head elongation. Thousands of years ago, they laid the foundations of ancient Egyptian culture, which originated in Sudan. They were the first to domesticate sorghum, just before the Sahara experienced a period of rapid desertification due to a tilt in the Earth's orbit around 3500 BC. In the 32nd century BC, the ancient kingdom of Upper Egypt expanded northwards and conquered Lower Egypt. In the 1st century CE, Alexandria was the cradle of Gnosticism, and in the 5th century, Cyril of Alexandria formulated his Miaphysite Christology, which later found wide acceptance in northern Ethiopia. From the 9th century BC to the 6th century CE, Somali fleets dominated trade routes across the Arabian Sea. Over the same time period, the Phoenicians, then the Greeks, and finally the Romans settled along the coast of North Africa and left some important vestiges there. In the 7th century CE, Arab armies swept from Egypt to Morocco, enslaved thousands of captives, and made Islam the dominant religion in North Africa. About 4 centuries later, in the hills of southeastern Africa, the Shona people founded the Kingdom of Zimbabwe, whose name refers to the local ancient stone dwellings. Shona people are also regarded as the inventors of the shofar, the umbira, and several percussion instruments, which were a major influence on music throughout Africa and beyond.